We offer you deep historical information from history on YouTube channel. Subscribe. Now don't forget to turn on notifications. The founding and history of the People's Republic of China, 1949 to the present day. The People's Republic of China, the world's most populous country and one of the largest economies, was founded on the 1st October 1949 by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, under the leadership of Mao Zedong. This historic event followed a long and complex history. In this article, we will take a detailed look at the founding of the People's Republic of China and the major events in its history from 1949 to the present day. 1. A brief overview of China's modern history. At the turn of the century, China was experiencing great political and economic instability at the end of the Qing dynasty. Imperialist pressure from foreign powers, civil wars, and popular uprisings plunged the country into chaos. The dynasty ended with the Xinhai Revolution in 1911, but the Republican regime also failed to stabilize. It was during this period that the Chinese Communist Party was founded in 1921 and began to grow stronger under the leadership of Mao Zedong. 2. Chinese Civil War, 1927-1949. The Chinese Civil War between the CCP and the Nationalists began in 1927 and lasted for 22 years. It was a long and bloody war in which both sides suffered huge losses. Finally, in 1949, the CCP won the war, and the Communists, led by Mao Zedong, established the People's Republic of China. The Nationalists retreated to Taiwan and established the Republic of China. 3. Mao era, 1949-1976. The early years under Mao Zedong were a period of rapid change and ideological radicalism. Policies such as land reform, industrialization, and the Great Leap Forward were implemented. Although these policies brought some short-term successes, in the long run, they led to major economic and social problems. The Cultural Revolution, 1966-1976, is regarded as one of China's darkest periods. Millions of people were persecuted and died during this period. 4. Deng Xiaoping era, 1978-1992. After the death of Mao Zedong, the CCP, led by Deng Xiaoping, took the country in a new direction with the policy of reform and opening up. This policy encouraged the private sector and allowed foreign investment and technology. As a result, the Chinese economy began to grow rapidly and became a major power in the world economy. 5. Subsequent periods, 1992 present. After the death of Deng Xiaoping, China continued its economic growth. Under Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao, social and economic reforms continued. In 2012, with Xi Jinping's accession to the leadership, China became even stronger and began to play a more active role on the international stage. Historical significance of the People's Republic of China. The founding of the People's Republic of China is one of the most important events in the history of not only China, but also the world. It marked the beginning of the rule of the world's most populous country by a communist regime and a significant shift in the international balance of power. China's rapid economic growth and growing international influence play an important role in shaping world politics in the 21st century. Major events in the history of the People's Republic of China: 1911, Xinhai Revolution; 1921, founding of the Chinese Communist Party; 1927, 1949, Chinese Civil War; 1949, founding of the People's Republic of China. 3. Mao period, 1949-1976, elaboration land reform, 1949-1953. The Communists, who came to power in 1949, confiscated land from landlords and distributed it to poor peasants. Although this reform reduced poverty in the short term, it led to lower productivity in the countryside in the long term. The Great Leap Forward, 1958-1961. In 1958, Mao Zedong introduced the Great Leap Forward policy, which aimed to rapidly increase industrial and agricultural production. The failure of this policy led to the Great Famine, 1959-1961, in which millions starved to death. the 100 Flowers Movement and the Anti-Rightist Movement, 1956-1957. In 1956, Mao Zedong launched the 100 Flowers Movement, which allowed intellectuals and artists to criticize the government. However, this criticism was soon perceived as a threat to the regime, and in 1957 the anti-rightist movement began the process of purging dissidents. Cultural Revolution, 1966-1976. In 1966, Mao Zedong mobilized radical student groups and the Red Guards to launch the Cultural Revolution, which aimed to destroy the four old things: old thoughts, old culture, old customs, and old habits. During this period, millions of people were persecuted, art and culture were destroyed, and the education system collapsed. 4. Deng Xiaoping period, 1978-1992, development reform and opening up. After the chaos of the Cultural Revolution, the CCP, under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, began to implement the Reform and Opening Up policy in 1978. This policy introduced capitalist elements into the Chinese economy, such as encouraging the private sector, allowing foreign investment and technology transfer. As a result, the Chinese economy began to grow rapidly. Shenzhen Special Economic Zone. Established in 1980 as a pioneering implementation of the Reform and Opening Up policy, Shenzhen has become a symbol of economic development. Allowing private investment and foreign capital into the zone paved the way for rapid urbanization and industrialization. Tiananmen Square events, 1989. In 1989, student-led protests for democracy were bloodily crushed by the military in Tiananmen Square. This incident damaged China's international image and led to strained relations with the West. 5. Later periods, 1992-present. Elaboration. Jiang Zemin and the Three Represents. After Deng Xiaoping's retirement in 1992, Jiang Zemin assumed leadership and pursued balanced reforms under the slogan of the Three Represents, representing the CCP, the people, and the socialist market economy. During this period, Hong Kong, 1997, and Macau, 1999, were returned to China. The Hu Jintao era. In 2002, Hu Jintao was elected General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, and economic growth continued. The 2008 Beijing Olympics was one of the most important international events of this period. 5. Subsequent periods, 1992, present. Development. The Xi Jinping era. Xi Jinping, who took office in 2012, has adopted a more authoritarian style of leadership. He launched the China Dream Development Project, which aims to make China a rich, powerful, democratic, modern, and civilized socialist country by 2049. During this period, emphasis will be placed on anti-corruption, economic reform, and national security. One Belt, One Road initiative. Launched by Xi Jinping in 2013, the Belt and Road Initiative is China's development project based on infrastructure investment and economic cooperation in Asia, Europe, and Africa. It aims to increase China's influence and power in the global economy. COVID-19 pandemic. In 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic had a major impact on China and the world. In the fight against the outbreak, the Chinese government implemented strict quarantine measures and managed to contain the spread of the virus. Current situation in the PRC, the People's Republic of China, is now one of the world's largest economies and a major international power. As its economic growth continues, China is also making significant technological and military advances. Under the leadership of Xi Jinping, China is pursuing a more active foreign policy and seeking to play a greater role in global politics. Debates about the history of the People's Republic of China. The history of the People's Republic of China is open to much debate and different interpretations. There are different views on issues such as the practices during the Mao Zedong era, the Tiananmen Square incidents and human rights violations. China's economic development and growing power are also provoking different reactions in world public opinion. The People's Republic of China has a population of more than 1.4 billion, making it the most populous country in the world. China's official language is Mandarin Chinese. The capital of China is Beijing. The currency of China is the yuan. China's form of government is a one-party communist system. Conclusion. The history of the People's Republic of China is complex and turbulent. Founded in 1949, it has rapidly become one of the world's major powers. China's future will play a major role in shaping world politics. We offer you deep historical information from history on YouTube channel. Subscribe. Now don't forget to turn on notifications.